Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, and the wait is over. Well, my wait for Tusker isn't over as of this recording, but my friend Ian Reed kindly lent me his TFCon purchased Tusker to take a look at. Fansproject's retro future Tusker, leader of the Glacialbots. I think. He's got a bigger box, but it follows the same formula as most of the rest. Its big contribution to the found 80s toy artistic intent is the very specifically placed faux sun damage to its ink. This legit looks like a box that sat sideways in a window for 20-some years. If it really rubs you the wrong way, you can do this to the other 4 boxes, provided you have 2 decades of access to a sunlit window. Towering over the other glacial beasts, Tusker's mammoth is absolutely mammoth! This guy is made of sharp edges and the 1980s. The mammoth silhouette is gorgeous, but it's all the surface detail that breathes an extra layer of life into the design. All the ridged greebles and rectangular toenail boxes provide a layered texture that feels good, man. That burgundy I keep going on about makes up the skin tone of this entire beast's body. In fact, aside from some spots of gray and a very pale orange, it's pretty much the only color you'll notice while this thing's running you down. Despite the sculpted joints on his legs, Tusker's mammoth only has posability in his face. Specifically, his tusks wiggle. His trunk can also move, but only downwards, and in order to straighten into the floor. The leader of the Glacialbots is just as tiny as his comrades, wearing a vest and helm of blazing, sun-faded orange. What a weird signature color to choose for oneself. By the way, now that I can look at the team in ensemble and pre-robotized fusion, I would really love to have some sort of dropship or craft for them to ride in. They look like a motley little crew of mini-robot revengers, very deserving of some sort of flagship. Possibly an ark to carry their beasts through an arctic flood of some sort. Tusker does get his own little craft via his Beast Rider mode. Once you manage to get the blasted stiff flap open, he sits upon the shield that his mammoth carries on its back, and that very shield can lift off and fly around on its own. I don't know if this is intended, but damn if it's fun to do. With Tusker flying around on his shield sled, the mammoth can initiate robotized fusion! The ears fold and lock with some terrifyingly tight tabs before the entire front third of the mammoth folds up. There's a great use of mass in having the robot legs unfold from the underbelly area, though the feet are damn hard to fold down. Revealing the arms is satisfying, but also leaves me wishing there was just a bit more being contributed by the big backpack of the mammoth's head. Tusker slots in up top, and then the would-be chest panel folds up to reveal a larger version of his slightly flat-nosed face. Attach the shield to his shoulder and Tusker's fusion is complete. It's fun and quick, much like his smaller comrades, and on par with G1 combiner leaders like Silverbolt. The Lord of the Glacialbots is an imposing retro-style robot powerhouse. His sculpt really says it all. He's a tree trunk of a man with tree trunks for limbs and tree stumps for fists. He also has a backpack among backpacks, though it thankfully does not make him topple over very easily, and hey, it kinda sorta looks like a Titanic jetpack. Tusker's fusion head is a great touch, but incredibly flat, like really flat. It comes off looking very weird from any angle in the rear 210-degree arc of his body. You can flip it back down if you want, which makes this look like the most badass exosuit in exo history. Tusker's color work in this mode introduces some new elements in his chest, and they do draw the eye in an effective manner. The shield on Tusker's shoulder is removable, and can also swivel thanks to its use of his combiner socket. The mammoth trunk can be held as a huge double-barreled shotgun, which you can make look cartoonily deflated if that kind of thing gets your engine stoked. As for posability, he's kinda got some. His shoulders have 2 degrees of separated motion, not quite a universal joint, but loaded with ratchets. His elbows can bend as well, and his hips are able to swing forward and backwards. While his shins are pegged together, you can separate them to add knee joints, and for certain styles of walking, i.e. 1, his ankles can bend forward. It's not the second coming of articulation, but there's a decent amount here for what Tusker is trying to accomplish as a retro-future figure. The backpack finally awakens to begin the long-awaited combination of the Glacialord. Tusker uses a thick, heavy gear system to splay his lower body open, while his backpack deploys the extending head-over-head-over-head piece that reveals the face of the first retro-future super robot. My only qualm here is that the head doesn't really lock in at all, so much as it wedges down with a mighty friction. The combiner hands cleverly deploy from within the mammoth's front legs before the rest of the glacial boys limb up and plug in with hella tight Scramble City-style pegs and ports. Finally, Tusker's gun unites with Fangro and Tail Club's weapons to power up into a suitably long kaboom stick for the Glacialord. Visually, I think he succeeds at the intent of retconning a long-forgotten G1-style combining robot into our history. He's got the chunk, the height, and the width. He's got a Defensor-like head and Abominus-style animalistic limb decoration. He's got the built collar and shoulders of Thunder Baron, and the 4 quadruple rocket launchers of... well, truthfully, I think that's a Glacialord original. Seeing the palettes of all 5 Glacialbots come together is quite a payoff between their shared elements and unique touches. I think the only major weakness is that in his default configuration, the Razor Spike leg is way thicker in the ankle than the Tail Club leg. And hey, thanks to Scramble City functionality, a quick mode swap between Tail Club and Fangro results in my preferred Glacialord setup. You can, of course, pop any of the limbots into any of the 4 limb spaces, so play around and have fun. Way back when I first got Tail Club, I figured his inner ratchet would allow for a universal combined shoulder joint, and I was right! The clearances of the panels can get a bit finicky here and there, but in general it works. And if Tail Club's an arm, you also get that elbow joint, but only on one arm, unless you go double Tail Club. The wrists can also swivel, by virtue of their connectors. Down below, Glacialord's hips swing outwards only, his knees are ratcheted, and his feet can swivel just enough to add a touch of naturality to his standing posture. And man, how I wish the hips could swing forward! Few things pain me like having knee joints without the essential partner of a forward-swinging hip. Perhaps it was left out due to the thinness of Tusker's thighs, or just for general stability, but man! Holding the Glacialord in hand, I love what I see, and most of what I feel, but there are 2 potentials I am very sad to see unrealized at the end of this particular journey. First and foremost, Tail Club's lone and incredibly clever elbow joint as an arm. Second, and surprisingly, the lack of a forward hip motion. I think if the knees weren't present, this would actually bug me a lot less. But I suppose this is where another part of me would step in on myself all Kanye style, and mention that for the most part, Glacialord is a full-on success at creating a wholly original but entirely thematic G1-style Scramble City combining Megabot. He feels so goddamn solid in hand, it makes me smile. Visually, he pleases me to a high degree, and for all my hand-waving at those 2 posability voids, they do show a potential that I would love to see realized more evenly and fully on another retro-future combiner. And I absolutely hope Fansproject can continue adding to this line, if only because it is a massive stride forward in taking what many now call the third-party Transformers scene and moving it into what it must eventually become, the indie transforming robot toy scene. Let it be said, the standalone Tusker figure is by no means overshadowed by all this. I would go as far as saying that, along with Mega Zero, Tusker is a retro-future toy that could feasibly be enjoyed as a solo purchase. So, as I draw the curtain on my Glacialbot reviews, all I can say in summary is that this team entirely delivered on their artistic intent, and in combined or uncombined ensemble, make me feel warm nostalgic and unnostalgic tingles when I look at them all standing together on my desk. This was a great project to have followed for the past half year, and I hope to see a sequel project sooner than later. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, taking one last huff of styrofoam joy before lying down and dreaming of beautiful colors.